Hello, I'm JJ Whitehurst, and this is my 7th grade science project, which is hydroponics versus soil. Now, before I start, some background information is that I'm really interested in space and astronomy. In the 2030s, there are plans for the colonization of Mars. It's an 8-month trip, and you don't want people to starve. But the spacecraft has to be as light as possible. As far as we know, there's no garden soil on Mars, so we don't know how well crops will grow there. This raises the question of how you're supposed to feed people for 8 months. There's no supermarket in space, and you need a balance between travel and food. So one way is to grow your own food, because carrying 8 months worth of food is too heavy. Hydroponics is a way to grow plants without the soil, and I'll explain a little bit more later. For my project, I chose to use green beans because they matured in 6 to 7 weeks, which was the time frame I had to do my project. My hypothesis was that the plants would grow better in soil because they had evolved to grow in that. When I say better, I mean they have bigger leaves, they're healthier, and they have more flowers, or they bear more fruit. The first thing that I did is I found a south-facing window because that's where you can get the optimal sunlight up in the northeast. Then I placed the beans in seed starter for about 2 weeks for fair starting grounds. When the seeds were in the seed starter, I took a time lapse of it. I had to take a picture every half an hour and I edited out the nighttime. It's over the span of 2 weeks. As you'll see in the first few days, there's really nothing, and then all of a sudden, the growth rate drastically increases. Here's a list of materials that I used for my project, the most important ones being hydroponic nutrients, growth medium, which was clay pebbles and soil, testing strips, so I could make sure that it wasn't too acidic or too base, and graduated cylinders, so I could actually measure out the plant food. While the seeds were growing, I built the hydroponic system. I went to Lowe's and bought supplies, and I assembled it in my garage. It's pretty easy to do. On the left, you'll see that I have a drawing of my hydroponic system. The blue cylinder is a bucket and acts as a water reservoir. The black square inside the bucket is a pump. There are tubes coming out of the bucket which feed into the gray cylinders and they water the plant's roots. The water then drains back into the bucket and then the cycle repeats again. Once the beans had finished germinating, I chose a dozen of the healthiest plants. I put half in soil and half in hydroponics. Up in the top left, you'll see a picture of me washing off the seed starter so it doesn't clog up the hydroponic system. I used clay pebbles as a hydroponic growing medium, and I also had to wash those out. They had ashes from when they were still being baked, so I had to wash them off so that they wouldn't clog the hydroponic system. I watered the soil plants when necessary, but it rained a lot, and I had to dump water out of the pans to prevent drowning. I replaced hydroponic nutrients about weekly. Here's a picture of 4 soil plants when I first started. Here's a picture of the other 3. This is a picture of the hydroponic plants when I first started. Here are 4 of the soil plants when I ended the time lapse. You'll notice that they have a lot of weeds growing in them. Here are the other 3. They completely died due to drowning, as there were no holes in the bottom to let water out. These are the hydroponic plants when I ended the time lapse. As you can see, they're healthier, they're taller, and they don't have any weeds growing. Here are the rest of the plants that I did not use, which were later transplanted into our garden. Here's an update on the plants. These are pictures from June 3rd and 4th, which was right before my science project was due. You can see that the hydroponic plants are doing a lot better, as they're taller, they're healthier, and they have bigger leaves. They also had more flowers, which meant they would bear more fruit. On the left is a photo of the roots of the smallest hydroponic plants. On the right is a picture of the largest soil plant and its core roots. I recorded my data in 2 different tables, one for hydroponic plants and one for soil. This one is for the hydroponic plants. I recorded the date, how much water was added, the pH of the water, high and low temperatures, and other notes. I believe that the cold weather slowed the plant's growth. I also had to dilute the hydroponic solution because at 100% the plants would start to wither. Here is the table for the soil plants. I recorded all the same things as the hydroponic table. Over the 4 weeks that the plants were outside, there were 14 days of rain and a total of 6.78 inches of rain. Hydroponics all started with the ancient Romans. The Emperor Tiberius really liked cucumbers and he had them grown off season in a greenhouse. Disney has a very large hydroponic garden in Epcot. Epcot was originally a theme park and is now a testing center for Disney. The only experiment still running is their hydroponic garden. The garden supplies vegetables to the residents at Disney. There is a pump in a bucket which pumps nutrient-enriched water. The water waters the plants, then flows back into the bucket. From the results, we can tell that hydroponics are better than soil. When I say better, I mean that the plants are taller, they're healthier, they have bigger leaves, and they have more flowers, which means they would bear more fruit. Going back to the topic of space travel, you can recycle water on a spacecraft and you can grow it indoors with grow light. NASA is already experimenting with space hydroponics on the ISS. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Here's a photo of the ISS hydroponics. Photo credit. Bibliography. Thanks for watching.